It's Friday, July 13, and time for your Barbados Today evening news update. I'm Kamar Jordan. Thanks for joining us. 8 people are now homeless after a fire at Gully Road, Rice's St. Philip. Fire officers tell Barbados Today the blaze, which started just after 1 p.m., was triggered by an explosion. Homeowner Marcia Clark was not at home at the time of the blaze. She said she received the dreaded news from her husband. The property, which has a bar and grill attached, was uninsured. Meantime, her neighbor Marlene Austin was resting at home when the heat from the fire awoke her from her sleep. She was unable to save anything. 2 fire tenders and 7 officers responded to today's fire. Meantime, the International Monetary Fund sends a clear signal to the Barbados government that it will have to cut spending to turn around the ailing economy. In a statement issued today following private meetings with the country's social partners over the past 10 days, the IMF said while the Prime Minister, Mia Mottley, in her June 11 budget, had made a step in the right direction, a second phase of measures was now needed to turn around the economy. According to the mission led by Bert Van Selm, critical to the next phase is a reduction of expenditures by improving the efficiency of the public service and cutting government transfers to state-owned enterprises by reviewing user fees, exploring options for mergers, and providing stronger oversight. The IMF assures that it is committed to working with the island to finalize a standby arrangement. In other news this Friday, there are signs of bitter wrangling within the camp of the National Union of Public Workers. Today, General Secretary Rosalind Smith sought to distance the union and herself from recent statements made by President Akani McDowell following talks with the IMF this week. Mr. McDowell had told Barbados Today that the NUPW would reluctantly accept job losses in the public sector as part of measures to turn around the economy. But in a strongly worded statement, Smith said the IMF meetings did not discuss job losses, but focused on ways to reduce costs through the possible introduction of flexi time and the use of technology to create more efficiency. She insists that the NUPW is therefore not prepared to accept job losses as a remedy to fix the island's debt problem. Investigations are continuing into a shooting incident which left 1 man dead and another nursing a gunshot wound. 26-year-old Donaldson Ricardo Husbands died this morning after he was shot multiple times shortly after disembarking the MV Dream Chaser after a cruise in the wee hours of this morning. The other victim, who has since been identified as Adrian Seeley, suffered a gunshot wound to his left thigh. When Barbados Day visited Husbands' family, they declined to speak. However, management of the MV Dream Chaser appealed today to those who seek to perpetrate violence in and around their vessel to cease and desist, insisting that patrons should be allowed to enjoy themselves in a peaceful manner. The operators said they will be fully cooperating with the Royal Barbados Police Force to ensure that there is no recurrence of the recent tragic events. They have also extended sympathy to the husband's family. Disaster management is a top priority for Barbados, and Home Affairs Minister Edmund Hinkson says every effort will be made to ensure that the island is resilient. Speaking at a hurricane preparedness and building resilience workshop at UN House today, Mr. Hinkson said Barbados must be in a constant state of readiness, and he urged the private sector to partner with government in this regard. He announced that government will be changing its response to disasters on several fronts.
As a new government, we will be reviewing the existing standard operating procedures for the national shutdown and reactivation of Barbados with the objective of legislating a regime for the scene in the event of an impending disastrous event. High priority to the enhancement of disaster risk management mechanism must be given by all parties. Government will continue to provide and seek to enhance an enabling framework to advance the work already taking place. We must seriously consider development of economic investment in disaster risk management.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back. On the regional front, the Barbados Chief Justice tells his Caribbean counterparts to stop pretending to be independent. Sir Marston Gibson issued the challenge today as he lamented that there was reluctance on the part of some Caribbean countries to leave the London-based Privy Council and to fully join the Trinidad-based Caribbean Court of Justice. He was speaking as the regional court held a special sitting to mark the recent appointment of a new president of the CCJ, Justice Adrian Saunders. Sir Marston says the time has long passed for countries to cut the umbilical cord with the United Kingdom.
With regard to the attitude of other Caribbean countries towards the appellate jurisdiction of the Caribbean Court of Justice. And the idea that comes to my mind, the metaphor that comes to my mind is a metaphor of children born but still umbilically tied to their mother. Because in a sense, the failure of the other Caribbean countries, other than the four of us, Barbados, Belize, Guyana, and Dominica, to accede to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ is akin to giving birth to a child who continues to grow and continues to pretend to be independent, but still be umbilically tied to her or his mother.
Meantime, Trinidadian Chief Justice Ivor Archie told the gathering he was embarrassed by the fact that his country, the home of the CCJ, is not a full member of the court.
I am on record as having voiced my support for the accession of Trinidad and Tobago to the appellate jurisdiction of the Caribbean Court of Justice on several occasions. Since the establishment of the CCJ in April 2005, only two CARICOM states, Belize and Dominica, have joined the founding states of Barbados and Guyana at the appellate level of the CCJ. It is an abiding irony and, to my mind, also a continuing embarrassment that the seat of the court is this country, Trinidad and Tobago, and we do not yet access the appellate jurisdiction.
On the international scene, the United States Justice Department today announced indictments against 12 Russian nationals as part of a special investigation into Russian interference into the 2016 election. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein said the Russians are accused of engaging in a sustained effort to hack the Democrats' emails and computer networks.
12 Russian intelligence officers are charged with hacking into the email servers of the Democratic Party and the Hillary Clinton campaign, plus stealing U.S. voter data during the 2016 election.
We know that, according to the allegations in the indictment, the goal of the conspirators was to have an impact in the election.
The 29-page indictment details how the Russians targeted more than 300 people associated with Democratic campaign committees and the Hillary Clinton campaign. This was the email Hillary Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta received, telling him to click a link to change his password, a technique known as spear phishing. Podesta did, allowing the Russian officers to steal his username, password, and emails. Prosecutors allege these Russian officers hacked into several accounts, stealing thousands of emails.
And that's news, but for the very latest, you can visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper email updates, or you can like us on Facebook. And remember, you can also sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as Screenplay in a supermarket or a gas station near you. You can also check us out on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Kmar Jordan. Have a safe and fabulous weekend, and be sure to join us back here first thing on Monday morning for our next update.